NTF,
We
we judge. In today's episode,
How often do you dream?
yeah, in today's episode, we're gonna talk about dreams. So yeah,
And we're not talking about dreams of, I aspire to be so and so.
not daydreaming. No, not daydreaming. Like the sleeping
Sleep
dream.
dreams.
The sleep dreams.
Rapid eye movement, yada yada yada. We don't talk
Yeah,
about
we don't
science.
talk about that.
We're
A
talking
bit
the
too scientific for us at the
We're
moment.
talking about the psychology of it. It's still a science, but the psychology of it.
We'll leave that for something else. Maybe we'll invite someone to explain that to us. Maybe one
Sleep
day.
medicine. Oh yeah.
You'll have to find for one person who is actually specializing in that. Anyways,
How often do you dream?
I've been dreaming a lot lately.
Oh, tell us about it.
Yeah, like so often, like almost every night. I mean, I'm not the kind of person who usually dream. I know we all dream
Yeah.
every night, but then like you don't remember your dream. That's the thing. So like I've been like remembering and being conscious about my dreams when I'm sleeping. Recently, yeah.
So you're just conscious enough that you had a dream, but you just can't recall it.
Not like exactly what happened, but like it was like I think 2 days ago, or two nights or one night ago, I was having a dreams about zombies.
Oh,
Yeah.
fascinating.
Safe to say I didn't have a good sleep.
And how was it?
I mean, it wasn't. You mean the dream?
Yeah. Although it's about zombies, but is it a cheerful kind? Is it a dreadful kind? Survival instinct?
Dramatic and survival. Yeah, I mean, I don't really get, maybe it's a nightmare, maybe it's not, but I don't get like so scared to the extent that I wake up from it. It's like, oh, I just happened to wake up because of my alarm or like because it's already like morning. Yeah, so it's not to that point yet.
Does it at some point signifies to or like tells you that at some point you're surviving just like a zombie apocalypse where like how I mean if we think about it in our daily life, how we struggle so much with our lectures, our work, and that either that we are just mindless zombies or we're just surviving the apocalypse where we don't have a choice.
I don't know, man. Like for me, dreams. I don't really think into dreams. I have like three versions of my mental state, which is like when I dream, when I sleep, and don't remember or are not conscious of my dream. Then I slept well. Then number 2 is when I'm conscious. Okay, which means I'm stressed, but like not the severe kind of stress, but it's not enough to.
Give you good sleep.
Yeah, it's not enough to give me good sleep, but it's not enough to make me like super stressed or like just And then there's the third stage, which is like air quote nightmare, like dreams that are not pleasant, and that's when I know I'm like, yeah, I'm stressed.
Very.
I wouldn't say very though, but like part of the unconscious mind is stressed about something. Very stressed about something. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
I had this one dream about a few weeks ago, but it still strikes me really hard in the heart, honestly. Because I was in this room, right? As I walk out of the room, I enter back the room from another door. And so I walk back, and you can kind of see it's kind of a deception thing where I'm going back
you
in the
just
room.
keep pushing,
and
It's like
and
a
I'm not
Mobius
going.
strip.
Yeah, exactly. It is the Mobius strip to some extent.
Yeah, endless.
So to some extent, you'd think, oh, someone's putting a prank on me, impossible, it's gonna work. And you just keep going through and through and through, and things just aren't working well.
Yeah.
And to some extent, you just think to yourself, am I living in a loop myself where my unconscious mind tells me, like, because how we typically say, oh, the right brain doesn't really know language, so they have to give you imagery to explain whatever it's thinking to some extent.
True.
We just use that as
Yeah.
our basis for our logic here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is it trying to tell me? It's gonna tell me that whatever I'm doing, I'm going back to where I'm starting, right? So it's probably like a reminder to say, you might wanna change your pace or change your methodology, try to shake things up a little bit, because no matter what, your either your mental health or your emotional health is actually stuck at that moment, and it's not going to do you any good. So that was one that struck me really close. And the other one was, I think, quite recent. It's about the zombie apocalypse as well, surprisingly. Well, this was a little bit gory, because we were a few survivors were hiding from this zombie, but it was like a human town in some sense, like a survivor town.
Okay.
Alright, but we're still hiding from it. We're not sure why. And then there was some festival going on.
Okay.
And it would seem like a very weird thing to do.
In the middle of an apocalypse.
Apocalypse, exactly. Right. Either that or like things were hectic outside because we were hiding, so we had no idea what exactly was going on until a chopped off head flew into the room. That was horrifying to say the least, and everything just felt so surreal. It just felt out of place for me. So what's your first instinct? I read.
Dude, wait. One thing I want to ask: do you usually watch zombie movies or like
not at all
horror or gore?
No.
Have you watched before?
I have had it. I am not the biggest fan.
Like, is it like often? Like how long ago or how many times?
None. The only horror I watch are movie summaries because I can't sit through the whole thing.
That is weird. Like, I don't know. I feel like it could, like the gore probably, because you see, if you haven't seen it or like seen it in real life or seen it in a movie or something, then you wouldn't be able to like imagine it that much.
You never know what's up with the brain, man. You never know.
But in a way, that's one reason I don't like to watch horror as well. Horror, zombies, they were like recently there have been like quite a lot of Korean dramas, like zombie Korean dramas.
We're
like,
all dead, I remember.
All of us were dead. All of us were dead, and then there's also like Happiness. And then there were people are like, oh, there's such a good drama, blah blah blah. You should watch it. And I'm like,
no, thank you.
Like
Train to Busan.
I've watched Train to Busan. The only one I've watched was Train to Busan, because it wasn't like that gory, in my opinion. Yeah, so.
But that aside, then it was just me. For the most part, it's just me fleeing, gathering whatever resources I had at that particular house that I was hiding in.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even save any of my survivor friends at that time. I don't even know any one of them, because it's quite a multiracial thing as well. So I was like, so now I look at it, I'm like, I consider it as a
sign.
As a sign, as a warning that says that you are actually in a state of survival right now as well. That at some point you have to abandon your team, because they no longer benefit you in the sense of your own well-being.
Oh well, that's something that you do need to do in reality.
It's not easy, honestly. It's just a little bit too much, and sacrifices has to be made. A lot of sacrifices has to be made.
Well, we got deep in there.
Not only is it deep, but it has to be addressed. And so this is where the dreams come into play as its significance from a health perspective. It really signifies that you wouldn't take the dream as just a dream, and maybe you should sometimes just analyze it as it is. Of course, if you say you have a dream of a flying elephant, then okay, maybe just take it for fun.
Yeah, like it could be just like,
your imagination's gone a little bit wild.
Yeah.
You're having a little bit of fun. So yeah, I think
it's
that
normal,
itself is a good, healthy sign.
Yeah.
Though if it's at a state of discomfort and unpleasantry, then there comes a place and time where you have to think, how can I take this into an abstract form and then make it relate to my life? So like the zombies, survival, horror, then you're scared and whatnot, right? Or either that it could be bravery or leadership. It depends on how you want to pull out the abstract from your particular dream. And then how do you relate it to your real life? Does it match up? Is it trying to tell you something? Is it healthy or unhealthy? And that's up to you to decide. And so, at least from how I interpret it, it's mostly signs of how I should be conscious of my day-to-day life where things hasn't been going too well. Of course, when times where things are, perfectly fine, then I don't get much of dreams either.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Sleep is good. Sleep is good. But these dreams will come out every now and then. It's a small little stop sign that says, hey, take a break, man.
Pit stop!
Pit stop. It's a toilet break.
Yeah, like time for a 5-minute break.
5-minute break. Realize what you're doing that's not exactly healthy and just see how you can work about it. It's gonna be fine.
But you know that the abstract part that you described?
Yep.
It seems a bit like, in my opinion, it's like, it's not a very T thing to do.
Is it?
I mean, like, in my opinion, it's
Okay.
just personally my opinion, because, like, thinkers are usually strictly logical, or like,
Right.
they think like, oh, dreams are just, dreams are just like far-fetched. The abstract part of it, like I give you a poem or like I give you a song,
Right.
like thinkers will just be like, yeah, it's just a song, it's just a poem, like whereas feelers and they will be like, oh, this means something, if the
see.
sentence is like this, then it will mean something that, but maybe it could be part of your J as well,
It
the
could,
abstract part where,
Yes, exactly.
where mine is stronger because I have both together, and then yours is like just solely one element of it.
But
so
then again, if you see how I analyze it, it's still a very T thing. Okay, so what can I extract out of it?
It's still kind of a T thing, but
it's not as strong as the poem.
yeah, it's not as strong as that. But either ways, it's still quite
interesting to talk about.
I mean, dreams,
hopes, dreams and hopes. Hopes
oh
and
my
dreams.
god, it's just like it's thundering out now.
Yeah.
So like it's like dreams and hopes. Boom!
No.
Destroyed in the rain.
Not in my world.
But then, I do think that dreams do have their own meanings. They represent the unconscious mind. It's just like how they say, the people you dream, the people you see in your dream, are actually people you have like seen before, like the faces that you have seen, even though they are strangers, but like you have seen this face because the mind couldn't make a face on its own. I kind of agree with that though.
To some extent, yes, it does make sense because the brain is quite a powerful computer. Right?
Yeah.
You definitely remember a lot of stuff. It's just that
Conscious
your conscious mind is smart enough to say these people are not as important in my life, and
to remember consciously.
Exactly. But the unconscious is like, I'm just gonna store it as backup.
Yeah, it's like your giant palace and you just shove everything in,
Exactly.
But,
shove it in, shove.
Yeah, but probably that's where I get the idea of like, if you have watched a lot of like gore and horror, then you would probably be able to associate more in your dreams. Yeah, maybe that's where I got it from as well, because your brain is not, sometimes your brain is not that imaginative sometimes, but
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime,
NTF, we
we
judge.